I had someone talk to me yesterday and they were like, yeah, I opened up SynthEyes and the interface is absolutely bonkers to me. And I get it. It's a little bonkers. So I want to just kind of cover this interface here. And I want to start just with the top bar, okay? These are organized in the order that you would typically use them, from left to right. So you would typically start over here and you'd click the auto button. Let's use this. And then we'll leave everything in the default and hit OK. And now SynthEyes just goes and it's just gonna auto track the shot. There's no way to make this interesting. Okay, and now it's calculating, and it's done. Hey, look, that was automatic. We didn't need to do anything to track this shot, other than the auto button in the summary panel. Sometimes it doesn't work, though. And so, you might need to do some things like rotomasking. So we go to rotomasking, and here we've got spline, camera 1, and then this spline, if we zoom out, we can see there's a spline here, and it occupies the entire frame. So, and that's assigned to camera 1. So that means that everything assigned to camera 1, everything within that blue RotoMask is going to be included in the track. But if there were areas that we didn't want included, then we could create a spline by doing this. And there you go. So now nothing in there will be auto-tracked. Let's go to features. This is the features tab. And I'm just gonna hit blips all frames with no user interaction. I'm not gonna adjust any values. I'm just gonna hit blips all frames and we're gonna let it go. Nothing interesting about waiting, so I'm gonna drink coffee. Still going. Hey, this is 942 frames I'm gonna add. That's why it's taking as long as it's taking. And voila. Okay, so look, here are all these blips. Look at all those trackers that are now tracked. Those are not trackers. Those are blips. SynthEyes is designed to identify features, which then you can, like a delicious orange, you can peel away and reveal the I don't know what metaphor I'm trying to say here. Anyway, there's this peel all button. You're gonna peel this orange of all these blips. And by doing that, I don't know if you saw what just happened, but SynthEyes just converted some of these blips into trackers, which you can see here. Now if I go to the trackers tab, you can see that these are actually now trackers. And there are far fewer of them than there were of all those blips. Now, why not just convert all the blips into trackers? Because when you solve that much incoming information, your solve times are gonna go skyrocketing. Not only that, but not all of the blips have long lifetimes. Anyway, we can get deeply into this, but this is just an overview. So let's try to keep it under control. I don't really ever use this create new trackers in camera view on left click. I just don't. Instead, I leave that off and I hold down the C key and I can lay out manual trackers that way. There's a reason for that, because if I ever want to click on a tracker, if I ever want to select a tracker and this is selected, or this is on rather, and I click near the tracker, oh no, here, let me just try and click on this one. Oh no, I created another tracker. Here, I'll try and select this tracker. See, this is not a good thing. That happens all the time if you're off by just a couple pixels in your mousing. So anyway, Control A or Command A on a Mac, delete, get rid of all the trackers. Turn this off and I can hit the C key and lay out all the trackers I want. These are manual trackers, so you pick features in the image that you want to track, Really briefly, here I'll lay out a tracker on top of that, and with no further user interaction, no adjusting anything, I can just tap the space bar and play forward, and it'll track that feature. Now you see it slips off, so there are a couple things we should discuss about what a tracker really is, what makes up this tracker. This inner box, you're probably familiar with this if you've done any tracking, any 2D tracking in any other application that does 2D tracking, typically compositing applications. So this inner box, look in the upper left-hand corner of the screen, and you can see this little section of the image. That's the pattern that it's looking for. The outer box is the search area. So if you make the search area really small like this, and you move forward, you're gonna see that pattern, it can't find within the search area that pattern. So you gotta make this big enough. Oh look, it locks right on, look at that. Solid. But you don't wanna make this too big, because if you just decide, hey, well, I'll just make my search area huge, then it slows down the tracking. I'm working on a pretty fast machine here, so it doesn't seem to slow it down too much. But even with that, it's now, we've lost the tracker. It's jumped off of that position because now it's searching in this bigger area, and this is apparently more similar at this point. So you gotta draw a balance between the search size being too big and being too small. You want to have it be just so the pattern gets close to the sides of the search area. But I don't want to go into like a big long tutorial about 2D trackers, so let's just move on to the next room, which is the planar tracking room. Let's go to the planar tab, and we're just going to click in the upper left-hand corner, we're going to click in the upper right-hand corner, we're going to click in the lower right-hand corner, and we're going to click in the lower left-hand corner, and look, there's a planar track, and I can track that. Check it out. Look, there, planar tracker. The planar tracker is going to have problems though, because this area down here, this region now has a bunch of noise coming in the form of all this brush. We might want to mask that, and then there are in-plane masks, and there are all kinds of controls for that. This is not a planar tracking tutorial, so I'm going to delete the planar tracker, and we're going to go on to the next tab, the GoH Track. Holy cow. There's too much to even discuss about how this whole interface works, so I'm going to skip it, because I've already got a bunch of GoH Track tutorials online. You can delve into those. Now let's move on. There's the graphs tab. Why this deserves its own tab, I think, is more of a legacy thing, because it's not like a place where you go to do tracking work. It's a place that allows you to diagnose tracking problems and that kind of thing. So let's skip ahead a bit. Here's our lens tab. You can force feed lens information into SynthEyes. This is a lot more complicated than people want to make it be. They get notes from on set that says this was shot on a 50mm lens, and then they type focal length 50 in here, and they don't have the scene set up. They haven't put in a proper sensor size. They're not, the manufacturing errors in lenses, lens breathe, all of those things. Let me put it this way. Focal length notes that you get from on set are never correct. They might be really, really close, but a 50mm lens is scientifically never exactly a 50mm focal length for all kinds of different science-based reasons. So let's just skip this. This is where SynthEyes will tell you, though, what its calculated lens is and what the calculated field of view is after you do a solve, and you can do all kinds of things here. Here's the solver tab. That assumes that you did a bunch of manual work, and so that's where you hit go to solve your scene. All right, here's a little more esoterica. At some point, I'll do tutorials about phases. This has a lot of potential. I think this can be taken to a much higher level. Some of it's really powerful, very useful. Some of it is just like there are more phase nodes that I want. I don't want to really get in deeply into this. So we'll skip ahead. The coordinate system. This is slightly less esoteric. Here's where you would, on your trackers, define that this point is at the origin. This point, these 2 points lie on the x-axis. X-axis. Remember, this is the x-axis. More coffee. More coffee. X-axis. These are on the x-axis. That's where you would set that up. I'm not going to show you how to do it, but that's where you do it. And then the 3D tab, where you can build 3D objects. So I'm going to draw out a box here, and I'm going to move the box. And much like in any 3D app, you can hit the W, E, and R keys. Like if I hit W, that's translate, and if I hit E in this view, I can rotate, and I'm sorry, R is scale. You'd think that R would be rotate, but no. And then there's lights. So you can create a new light, and hey look, there's a new light in the scene. And if I go to the quad perspective view and I lock this and I say, here, toolbars, view, this is nice. I'll say solid meshes. Hey look, there's a solid mesh, and now I can grab the light and I can move it around, and we can see that the light actually affects our rendering of that mesh in OpenGL. So, but anyway, I've gotten all the way across all of these buttons. These are the buttons that you see when you first open SynthEyes, and so that's it. That's all I'm going to do for you this morning. I have to get back to work because I've got a bunch of tracking to do.